Welcome back to Indie Housing Market. My name is Kyle.morris with Morris Property Group and FC Tucker.
Hi guys, I'm Shelly Walters with FC Tucker and the Shelly Walters Realty Group. It's been a few weeks.
It has been a few weeks, and I'll be honest, it's taken us like 45 minutes just to get focused to do all this because we're out of our routine, and we're just a hot mess over here, quite honestly. We didn't even have the microphones on for a second. So it has been, but it's weird to kind of take we've been doing this podcast forever. We did it in another format even prior to that. I was thinking the other day, I think it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah. And it all seems the same over and over and over again until like this past 4 months has just been up, down, up, down, up, down. But it
has
seems to
been.
be.
But taking 2 weeks off is weird when I look at the numbers, right?
But we were still working.
We were still working.
So we saw what was going on.
Still saw what was going on. I just wasn't quantifying it, I guess. So it's weird. You kind of look at, what the news says. And, we always talk about, like, be careful with what you read in the news because it gets angled.
Oh, boy. And right now it's really angled. It's like
It is, but what's really interesting is, like, everything you're reading on the news is correct, that things are sitting a little bit longer and prices are coming down a little bit. But, like, the other side to it is stuff is selling. Days on market is going down even though things are sitting. It's just really odd.
I'm seeing price drops, a lot of price drops.
A lot of price drops.
Yeah. Which is where you might think people might think prices are lowering, but they're still not. We're not in a dive. It's just a little bit of an adjustment. But looking at my stats too, is I was saying 99% list to sale ratio, 100% for the past few months, getting to 98 on this. But I was telling you earlier is the market of the 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 is hot in Carmel.
Really hot. Mm-hmm.
Like over list, way over list.
Selling in a week.
The competition has just been crazy in that market. So I think, again, it gets back to price points of what's happening in specific price points. 200, 300, not going to be sitting there very long unless you have something wrong with the house.
Something condition,
yeah.
Right? You talk about price drops, and we've done a lot of houses this year. You've done a lot of houses this year. I haven't had a single client who didn't make a significant profit. You know what I mean?
No,
so it's like, hey, okay, price had to come down. Like days on market, maybe you had to drop 5 or 10 or whatever it was, depending on the price point, to refresh it in the system. Like that's a whole nother conversation, right? Because
we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, where I used to do it like $100 a day.
Right, to refresh it in the system.
Just
right,
keep it in front of them.
Right,
when
so when there's a
6
change,
months.
right, when there's a change, it populates back into the search engine or the email portal as there's a change in something, right? So it stays fresh in there. So that's why we kind of do that to a certain extent. So a little of that is baked in my opinion, with pricing to it. And I could talk to 10 different agents. I could get 10 different opinions on this, like price it right or price it knowing that you're 30 days on market and to have this. It really is kind of dependent case by case.
Or price it low so you get multiple offers.
Correct.
Like
correct.
Which way are you going to go?
Yeah, it's really a case by case scenario. And for somebody to say you have to do it this way or the other way, it's just 100% case by case based on what the sellers need, right? I've had sellers who are like, we need this to take a little bit longer to sell, if that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of our timeline with moving
Right.
and all this other stuff. Like there's just there's a lot that goes into every single house. But even with those, every single seller I've had has made, significant profit on a house. So
If they've been in it for a while.
Yeah. Well,
But,
everybody
yeah.
I've sold this year has been 2 years or more.
Yeah.
2 years or more.
Well, and the market's still showing that an increase of a percentage of prices in 2024. They've gone up since 2021. We talked over and over again, 21, 22, 23, now 24. They're still going up. Right now, I just think it's settling in.
Yeah.
And I think I haven't really studied all the price drops, but I think there's still maybe some people out there that are looking at prices and saying, "Oh, we can reach for that. Let's go ahead and list there."
Yeah,
And
that's the thing.
that's kind of gone. I don't
agree.
think we should be doing that because it's just not going to work. And then what does happen is when a buyer sees a house on the market for 30 days, there's still that stigma of what is wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, my opinion, I want to price it right at market or even a little bit lower so we can get it sold and not have a stigma where we then lose $5, $10, $15, $20,000 on the house because we priced it incorrectly in the beginning. But I don't know. There's also the thing where I cannot sit in front of a seller today and tell them what to expect. I can't do it right now.
Yeah.
Before 6 months ago, I could say we're going to go on the market on Thursday. We should have our offer by Sunday, and all of that. Even though I know I've priced it right, it's a great house. I can't guarantee it's going to sell quickly, and I can't guarantee we're going to have multiple offers. It's just a wait and see, because you just never know. It's just there's no given anymore.
We have a house that is a great house. I mean, it's been updated, and it just baffles me. It's priced really well, and then other stuff went on the market in the neighborhood. It's a great neighborhood, and the whole neighborhood is sitting, and the whole neighborhood is doing price drops. And I just baffled by all of it, quite honestly, because it was a house that I thought would have moved really, really quickly.
And that's what I'm saying. We just don't know.
It makes no sense.
And this is historically, we were talking about this earlier too. This is historically like the first 2 weeks of August is a slow time.
Yep. School,
and it wasn't slow.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we
Into
look
summer.
at the amount of pendings that happened in Carmel, Westfield, and Zionsville, which your stats we have in front of us, it was a busy past 7 days, and the past 14 days have been busy in the market. So
my stats right now are not really different from beginning of July.
Yeah, and I looked back. I went back 6 weeks, and I looked week by week by week by week, and they're exactly the same, week after week after week after week. Very steady in Carmel and Westfield and Zionsville, same numbers, not moving much. And it was always the last 2 weeks of July and the first 2 weeks of August. I always was like, oh my gosh, this is just going to be quiet. Everybody's going on their last minute, vacations, and then everybody's getting all their back to school stuff, taking their kids to college. There was just a quietness.
Yeah.
But then the interest rates dropped in this past 4 weeks. We've had that kind of come into play. So I don't know. I say it all many times. I don't think we have a series of events that happen throughout the year that are cyclical, regional, or anything seasonal, I should say. It just seems to be a steady as we go. But we did have that April and May where we were shocked that it didn't pick up.
Yeah. I feel like this whole year has been a Wednesday. Every day is a Wednesday. I don't get weekends and I don't get Mondays. Just every day is just, to your point, there's no cycle to it. We haven't had kind of the upticks we would usually see. Some of the places where we'd see it, it's actually been down, and then in weird places it's been up. It's been very, very odd. And then the market, I mean, I'm seeing like Fishers has a pretty massive uptick in inventory. Noblesville is the same. There's really good houses out there right now, and interest rates have come down. I think they're going to keep coming down. Obviously, I don't want to get into the Fed and Fed's mortgage-backed securities. It's not directly tied to mortgages or all that stuff, right? But it does show a better pulse of what will happen, and so rates have gone down. They were 7.25, and then they went down to 7, 6.8, then down to 6.4, and then back up to 6.8. And I haven't looked to see what they're at today, but
it's just going to be like this for a while until November.
Yeah.
And then that to me is after January. We don't know what's going to happen. So I did hear about 3 to 4 weeks ago, everybody's, I'm just going to wait. I just got to see what's going to happen in November. And then the rates went down, and then everybody went back to doing it. So you can just, no matter what we hear today,
it's going to be different.
We have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow, because it's just, we have so much going on around us that is controlling
Election
us.
year.
The other thing, too, is everybody was, and I'm going to just say it quickly and mention the lawsuit with the DOJ and National Association of Realtors. That all just went into play July 1st for us, and there was agents that were wondering how that was going to go.
And then they thought it was August,
17th,
even though, because that's national, but for Indiana, it was actually July 1st.
Wasn't that fun that the news threw that out there? Oh, my gosh.
I did,
Channel 13,
last
Channel
week,
8 throws out, on August 17th, everything's going to change in the real estate industry.
Man, we've been that way for a month and a half.
We've been doing this for 45 days. Who did you call? Because, we both were in Real.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The media is supposed to work through my
So
board.
Real's like the leadership academy for real estate. But
Real Estate Association. Realtor. I don't
Real
know.
Estate Academy of Leadership.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there's such a correlation between the media and my board to talk. And I don't think either one of those stations talked to my board or anybody, because they threw out this information, which gets to the point where we say, don't listen to the media, because the media was extremely wrong in how this has all been playing out for the past 6 weeks here. And it's like they just saw something and grabbed it off the news feed. But back in the day, you just go over to the news feed and pull it off and read it. It's like that's what they did.
Yep.
But we've all been in it,
And
and
they
it's
just
not
pumped out
causing
an article
any
or
issues
something.
for us. Buyers are still buying. Sellers are still selling. It's exactly what we've been doing. It's just, to me...
Other states have been doing this for years.
Yeah, that's what that was interesting for me.
Washington has been doing this for years.
That's what they've always done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's
not this doom and gloom and sky is falling type stuff.
No, or that, we were going to just have like no ability to sell real estate anymore when this all came into place.
Real estate agents would disappear, all that. Just none of that's happening.
Well, the thing is funny is I crack up about is all I said is all it did was cause more paperwork because the government got involved. Yeah. We have more paperwork to fill out. We do. We have like 3 more documents we have to submit.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. But so, and it comes into play with just like discussions and negotiation a little bit, but it's, on a whole, I haven't seen a major change. I do think this market is weird in the sense that I can't think of a previous 30-day period where we wrote offers, my team. I wrote one offer for $100,000 over list, and I wrote one offer for $20,000 over list. And like that is such a huge difference.
Was it?
You wrote one for $150 over list, right? You said, or something like that. Yeah. So, and I'm over here taking shots for 100 G's under list on stuff, just because it's sitting on market. I want to see how educated the agent and the seller is on the other side, and I'm trying to do what I can for my buyers. So, I've done pretty well with that. But on the seller's end, like I also know when something's going to go really, really quick, just based off if I have a good agent on the other end who's communicating with me, which is one of the situations you ran into. But
it's such a big difference.
It is.
It's if you have we're heavy listers, so when you're listing, and I don't know how many times this happened to me, but I think in this past 2 weeks I was gone for a funeral and out of town and stuff. But I said we were still working. So I had listings that were on and offers coming in, and I'm busy with the funeral, busy with the family. And I'm sorry, I didn't look at my email after 5 o'clock, and it's like noon the next day, and I'm just getting my emails. My email sends you back to you that I am out of town. Text me, whatever. There's offers in my email. Not one agent
texted you that an offer was coming across?
Told me that there's an offer there. And I'm like... Communication, that's one thing. Just tell me, do you not want your buyer's offer to actually show up in front of the seller? I'm sorry, I wasn't really on it that time when I was gone and dealing with having to help with do whatever I was doing.
How dare you have a family member die? Seriously.
I can go. Are you looking at your emails 24 hours a day, every 10 minutes? I mean, I try to, and I will do on a normal basis, but
I probably look at my email. So let's take daytime hours, right? Every 2 hours. I'm probably about 6 times a day I look, unless I'm expecting something, right? Or if I'm on my laptop, right? Like obviously I see stuff as it comes, but like as I'm just out and about and mobile, I probably look every 2 hours, something like that.
And that's pretty much me too. It's always in my phone, obviously, but can I just vent about this? I'm sorry, but voicemail's like a fax to me. If you call me, or call me and say, I called you, you didn't call me back, I'm like, how am I supposed to know that? Like, I'm not. If I see somebody calls me and they don't leave a voicemail and they don't text me, I'm assuming it's not that important, or they figured it out, or they don't need to talk to me anymore. Mm-hmm. But if I picked up my phone and called back everybody who dropped their call and didn't get back to me or didn't leave a voicemail, I can't do that, so I don't. But then there's the people that leave a voicemail, and on my voicemail it says, please do not leave me a voicemail unless it's a really long, involved information I need to know.
You have a voicemail that says, hey, you're in the wrong door, basically.
Please use the back door.
How do I get to your level, Shelly?
No. It's just because...
Hey, this thing that you're listening to, don't waste your time.
It's one less thing that I have to go look for. I've got the emails. I've got the text.
Text is way easier, to your point. Like,
it's coming right into my phone.
If I'm out doing something and I am engaged in something, it is really hard for me to listen to a voicemail. It just comes across a little bit more rude to whatever I'm doing, to whoever else I'm currently with.
Yeah, you can.
A text message is, ironically, like...
less invasive in the
less
whole
invasive,
situation.
and it's kind of like the... correct etiquette, I guess. I'll be like, I got to respond to this real quick. And nobody cares. But if you start, it looks like their time isn't valuable all of a sudden.
Or you can read you can read the voicemails, and the voicemail
tells
like
me
that I should go listen to Scooby-Doo on the cartoons this morning. I'm like, that's not what it said.
Yeah.
But it doesn't tell me really what they meant. it
Yeah.
says something really stupid and I can't read it. So I'm like, I don't know. I do. I just say, if it's really involved and you need to leave a voicemail, please do. But otherwise, please text me. I'll get back to you so much faster.
Way faster. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll get a voicemail. Literally, call me.
It's
Okay, I didn't see that. I'm so sorry. I don't know. That's just me. So that's just my quirk for the day. I just had to throw that out there. I don't know how we got that far into that.
Oh,
tangent.
it's amazing. I mean, it's I have an auto text, and I need to change it to be a little bit more professional. But if somebody calls me and I'm in the middle of something, it's an auto that says, "Can I call you later?" Right? And for me, it's me letting you know I see you. Right? So like even when I get emails, and like even if it's an email that I'm not going to respond to right away, or it's an email that I don't have to respond to at all, I automatically always reply received.
Me
so
too.
that they know
Yeah.
I saw it, right? And so with the phone call, I do this "can I call you later" thing. It's bad. Like at one point, one of my friends had me saved in his phone as "can I call you later," because he would get it from me so many times. But it also keeps a log for me in my text messages, essentially for me to make sure I'm following up with people. Fred, our buddy, we're going to have him on in a couple of weeks. Fred Krawczyk, that does commercial. He has like a very professional one. That's his auto-generated text. And I was like, I need to shore things up a little bit and do that.
To that point where literally this is what I would say probably I realized I needed to do in the past year, which really was strange to me, is that I have to, you know how you go through your emails and just make sure you've done everything and what you needed to do, and you could go down and do all that. I now have to do that with my texts. Like I have to go through like 20 texts and go, okay, I haven't done that yet. I haven't done that
Yeah,
yet.
I do that. Yeah.
And I'm like,
I was just talking to my team member Jacob about that. Yeah.
that to me is so weird that the text became the,
It helps me with my calendar, everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's
You know what I think is funny with your voicemail? You know what I think is the
let me play it for you.
No, I'm good. But one of the funniest things I think is when I call another agent and they don't answer, and they're like, if I'm not answering, it's because I'm out showing houses to another client or a closing. And I'm like, man, get out of here with that crap.
Yeah.
Like, what are you like? Who are you trying to sell here? You know,
How
like
about
just
call-
say like you can't answer the
Right.
phone.
So sorry I missed your phone call. How about the
It's
voicemails?
9:00 at night. You know,
Right,
you know
right.
what I mean?
I'm
What
so,
are you talking
yeah, it's
about? man?
midnight. I'm not showing houses.
Yeah.
But the thing too about the listening to or calling an agent who's in business and get the, you have reached 317-444 and you can't answer the phone around.
Oh,
Like,
or
you haven't even set your voicemail up.
or this voicemail box is full. I'm just like, I'm
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
what? It's full. Like, what are you doing out here?
I know. Yeah,
Like-
no, the etiquette of your phone.
I can't even have a text message as unread. Like every now and then I'll have one like it'll say like hey, your prescription, you got to go pick it up, right? And I leave it as unread to remind me. And that little one in a red circle will drive me batshit crazy
Well, that might
for
get back
like
to what we
6
were
hours.
talking about
you
what
know?
our mental capacities are for life. I can't stand that either. Today I just found the one. It was so
Oh, it's
far
buried?
down. It
Oh,
was
yeah,
buried,
yeah.
and I was spending so much time, and it was like 70 down, and I finally found that one today.
So I had one like that. We're way off the rails,
Yeah,
but this is awesome. So what happens when we're not around for 2 weeks? But I had one that I could never find. And so I had to go to Verizon because it was messing with me so bad. And I was like, clearly this is not important. It was probably like like, you know, we get the ones that are saying like, are you interested in health insurance?
Yeah.
Through, like I provide insurance for NAR, or, you know, whatever. I had to go to Verizon and they showed me this place where like you can just check them as like read all for your text. I was like, all right, now do that, make it go away, and then undo
Could
that.
have
So
been
I know
really
what's going.
important, and you don't know. You'll never know.
I mean, it's 6 months ago, and I don't. I'll just
I
deal
do.
with it.
Everybody. There's got to be more people out there hearing that.
Yeah. So basically, we have mental health issues. Anyways, that's what honestly part of that stuff is like what makes me good is like I'm just very detail oriented. Like I'm big on checking boxes for completions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of good agents are like that. Not that I'm a good agent, but I talk to good agents. And they're very similar to like the way I operate or the way you operate. But anyways, it is. So back to the market though. So one of the things I want to talk about, I didn't really want to get into it too much today, but it was on my mind. You know, it's like, I think people talk to real estate agents and, you know, they're always like, how's the market and all this stuff. And like, I just really, as a person and as a professional, like I try to be really transparent and genuine. Like I wanted to talk about like some of the losses, you know? So for me, like I just had one, that's why it's been on my radar. And it is like, I've been in the business 7 years and it is only the second house ever that I was not able to sell. Right. I think we've done like 500 houses. Obviously, not all of those are listings, right? But I had one in year 2, and they were friends, and they're still really good friends to this day, and they refer me out. And it was on the market for a year. The market was, this is pre-COVID, right? So the market was different. It was a little bit slower. And like, I'll just be honest, I priced it wrong at the time. I learned a lot from that house. I priced it based off of a house that fell off as a comp within 30 days of me listing it. And it was a pretty high priced house. And as soon as that fell off, like, it significantly impacted my price because it was no longer a comp. And so everybody was just kind of just beating me up on price and it's overpriced and blah, blah, blah. And that one like really kind of got to me, and it kind of taught me some things. But I just had one. That was a year contract. This one was a 6-month contract, and it was a really good condo, and it just didn't move, and it was a friend, and it makes me really sad, because you start to like question yourself. It's like, I don't care if I sold 500 houses, like, why can't I sell this one?
There's always the one that makes you double check everything you do in life. It's
like, what am I doing
in here? Why
I'm doing everything I always do, right?
Yeah, there's always the day that you decide that maybe you shouldn't be in this business that comes to you because the day goes bad.
You're like, maybe everybody found out I suck. Like, I don't know. I just think it's a thing.
We have bad days, but there's, there are houses though that just, I don't know. And they always say price is always the problem.
Man, I'll tell you, price was not the problem because we dropped price on it. There's some others. It's a great house, but regardless of what it is, it's
still out there.
It made me like really, like, I worked my butt off for this client, and like it really sucks to work your butt off for somebody, and like them maybe not have a good experience.
Right.
Like, I take that very personally, and it's hard. One of the things that I've gone to interview for listing appointments, and I think in my whole career, I can think of 3 listing appointments that I've gone on that I didn't get, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, the numbers are really good. And I personally, I refuse to ever go look at that house. So that house I wasn't able to sell, I will never look at that house again. I will not see if it sells.
Yeah, that's something that I can't do that either. If I didn't get the listing, I'm not going back and figuring out, it sold in a day. That's awesome.
Yeah. Or it didn't sell. And then like, you're like.
Or they listed it exactly where I told them to, and they told me they wouldn't list there, but they're going to list higher. And that's what made me lose the listing is because of the price. And then they listed what, they finally decided. I never go back.
I think a lot of agents would disagree with us on that too. This one, I've comped it. It is what it is. Somebody else came in and kind of, what we call bought the listing, right? Yeah. Like, they priced it higher than what I would have priced it at. And I'll never look. I did run into the person. I do know it's sold. I never went and looked at the price. I just know it was going to be higher than what I put it at. To me, it does me no good to I either feel like crap because like I didn't price it right, but like I know how I price a house. Like, I spend a lot of time on it. Or I feel good about myself because like I told you so. Yeah. Like, neither one of those are a good place for me to be at mentally, because I'm either above somebody or below somebody. And what I can tell you is when I'm in either one of those 2 feelings, I'm not serving a current client. And so I refuse to go back and look at that stuff. And I know a lot of agents who like want to go back and look, kind of like this whole like I told you so kind of crap, or validating.
It's a time sucker. It's an emotional time sucker. Everything.
Makes me less efficient.
Yeah, I have no desire to go back and see what could have, should have, would have, everything, because you
got too much in front of you.
Well, and you and I both. I'm a sensitive person. I get really, to the point where even.
Are you kidding me? I cry at like puppy commercials. Sensitive as it comes.
It is hard because the one thing, like you said, buying a listing. The hardest thing is to set in a listing appointment, and know, like you said, I'm very detailed. You're very detailed. When I find a price, I've spent hours, usually a couple of hours, figuring out what that house should list at, because that's going to kill us. One way or the other is going to make or break how this whole deal goes and its price. And I want to show to them where I'm coming from. And when a seller makes a decision on who they want to use an agent based on price alone, I know I'm not going to win, because I'm either going to be at market or a little below market in this market. I am not going to, let's just see what we can get. I'm not that agent.
That'll bite you in the butt.
Yeah,
these days.
and I'm also not that agent to put my sign in the yard and hope sometime, with that listing, I'm going to get 5 sign calls and make some money off this listing. So I'm going to tell you, list it for $50,000 more than you should, so I get something out of this listing.
Yeah.
It's all about selling it for them and getting them the most amount of money, and that's how I price.
Yeah.
And I will say I've lost more listing appointments than you have, because I will not buy a listing for many reasons. And it's called practicing the 3 Ps. And I say that at the table.
What are the 3 Ps? Let's hear it.
Put it in my board, place a sign in the yard, and pray it sells. And I said, I'm just not an agent that practices the 3 Ps. I was taught that very early on. No, they said, when the class I was in, don't be that agent.
Yeah.
And that always came into me, because I'm not. You said how much detail and how much time we put into everything. There's no way I'm just going to throw something at the wall and hope it sticks and come back later and tell the seller, I'm sorry, it didn't work, or here's, now we're negotiating.
It's not my DNA.
I can't do that. So if I lose a listing, I won't go back and look at it, because I know I was right. In my head, I'm right. And there's probably times I was wrong, but I'll never know. I didn't go back and look.
Well, and part of it's like, you don't always take W's, right? Like,
right.
I learned just in life, sometimes I take a loss. It's not about me. It's about somebody else getting a win.
Right.
Right. Like, it's not about me. Maybe it was about for somebody else. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or I don't know. Maybe my breath smelled that day. Like, I don't know. Like, I've gone in and worked with a client. Like, we run ragged. Like, they'll be like, "Are you tired?" And I'm like, I'm super tired.
Yeah.
Like, during that happened to me once. Like, when was it? 2021, when it was like, at noon, you get like 3 clients being like, "I want to see these houses, and we got to do it tonight, or we lose these houses."
The next 2 hours.
Like, after a year of that, they're like, "Man, like, you got some bags under your eyes. Are you wore out?" And I'm like, I've been dying for somebody just to acknowledge that for like 6 months.
Just pay attention to me.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about that was too, and it's still happening, because my buyers I'm working with right now, I'm jumping when they call, because they're all
because you don't know what's going to happen.
The one I just had this weekend, I jumped, and it was over $1 million. I didn't know I'd have to jump as fast as I jumped, but I did, because I don't want my buyers to lose a house ever, and I just don't know in this market if it is or isn't going to go disappear. This one disappeared immediately, and I've got 3 buyers now that I'm just jumping when they say, let's go see the house, because I don't want to be the agent that said, I can't do it today. Can we do it tomorrow? And it pended. Yeah. So I'm still going to be jumping.
That's one of the reasons I built my team, was so that a client would never be inconvenienced or held to, like if I have, like if,
right.
Like if my daughter has, like I coach her in football, right? So like if she's playing flag football,
That's so fun. I played
She's
that.
10. She's awesome. She's an amazing receiver.
I love it.
But so like I coach, right? And so like Tuesdays at like 6 usually, like I have to coach. Like I don't want you to miss out on a house because of, my other obligation.
And you
That's
also
why
don't want to miss your family obligation.
Correct.
So you have backup.
Yeah. So I have a whole team so that, you need to go see a house Tuesday at 6. Like, I got you covered.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's not
Me
that
too.
deep. And if you're interested in the house, usually what else I tell people is if I'm unavailable to look at a house and you're working with me, but my team shows you the house, I will automatically, as soon as I'm done with whatever I'm doing, I will still go look at the house if you're writing an offer. So I put eyeballs on the house before
I
we write
highly agree with that.
Yeah.
Because there never fails that there was some ice maker somewhere hidden
Something
in
that's
the
overlooked.
house that they wanted so bad that you didn't know existed. And
Right.
you're going to miss getting that in the offer or something. I highly agree. You should never write an offer. If you've not been in
I've
that
never
house,
written an offer without looking at it.
Yeah, you
Never,
got to get in
never
there
once.
and see what you need to know.
I've never bought a house without an inspection either, even during all that time frame.
No, I
Never
don't
bought
agree
a
with
house
that
without
either.
an inspection.
So Jeff went out and looked at a house this weekend, and he was not happy
Jeff's
about
your
it.
son-in-law. He's been on here, but for anybody who doesn't
my
know.
son-in-law on my team. He's an awesome real estate agent, and he
He's
was
a good
showing
dude.
a house.
He's just a good-ass human.
Yes, he is. And he went into this house, and it's been on the market for quite a while. And this is one thing, too, just bash on how people do their business. I don't want to do that. But so he got into the listing, and he said the pictures were so photoshopped that when he got into the listing, there were broken windows, there were holes in the walls, there was all these issues that were all photoshopped out of the pictures.
You can't do that. You can't change the condition of the home. You can change
They
certain
did,
things, but
and
you
he
can't
is
change the
so
condition
like
of the home.
his buyer was so upset because he canceled something with his family. I don't know what the whole situation was, to get to see this house that was not a close drive, and walked in and walked right back out because it's not what they're looking for. So that was what I'm trying to get back to was, could you imagine looking at pictures and writing an offer and not seeing the three broken windows and the holes in the wall because you didn't physically go into the house? You're looking at pictures. They aren't always what you think they are.
I pay good money for photos, so people like the photos. We can change. So if it's a rainy day, I can make it a sunny day, right? If there's a fireplace and I have confirmation the fireplace works, you can put a fake fire in it. You can put something on a television screen. You can mess with lighting, but you cannot change the condition of a home in a photo. I mean, you're just
The buyer was mad, and Jeff was mad because it just was a waste of everybody's time. Yeah. He said he was going to put it in the feedback, but it's been on the market for like 80 days. I'm like, has nobody ever said anything yet? Or they don't care, and they're just going to leave
Where's
it like
at?
that?
I'm going to go off from 50 G's on their list. Anyways.
I don't know. So that gets to just, you have to be in the house to write an offer. And how did we get on that? I don't know. So anyway, let's
tangents. 2 weeks off. This is how it goes. This is what my head is like. This is what Shelly's head is like on a regular basis. There's a squirrel, and we will pursue it. So
where?
Yeah.
What do your stats look like?
Okay, so my stats for Fishers. So I had 37 go on the market. 11 of those pended that went on the market within since the 13th. I do Tuesday to Tuesday. So, but 26 are still active that went on the market last week. 23 total pended. So that's stuff that had been on the market over 7 days. Fishers has had a pretty significant uptick in inventory. They have 221 on the market.
That's crazy.
That's a lot, man. I mean,
so I'm going to quickly throw in. You're saying 220 in Fishers. Carmel has 149.
Well, so Fishers like 3 weeks ago was like 190. So I mean, I was already creeping up there, but like it's been a minute since we've had something in the twos besides like Westfield, right? Average days on market is 22, median is 7. So stuff is actually there was just a lot. That I mean, it said 11 pinned it in a week, but I don't know. It looks like stuff's starting to trend back the other way, which is kind of odd for this time frame, but it is what it is. Noblesville, I had 27 go on the market. 10 of those pinned, 17 are still active, but 31 total actually pinned. So it's a negative inventory situation for Noblesville. There's 174 on the market. Their days on market is 22, and their median is 9. So I'm sitting here saying like things kind of sit, but actually like my numbers are going down, right? Like my days on market for the season that we're in, my days on market are like really reasonable, if not a little bit lower than what I'd anticipate. The median is actually quicker, and inventory is going up. And so I don't really have enough yet to quantify that data. My guess is that there is more. As interest rates have trickled down, there's just become more buyers in the market. I will also say this, and we kind of talked about it. I'm dealing with more first right contingencies right now than I have in a couple of years. Like I've been able to get first rights done even during COVID, all that stuff. I have like 3 right now that are all first rights. I have one that is first right with a first right. No. You know what I mean? Like just layered to bits, you know.
Crazy.
And we're going to get it done. And it's all good. And we've got good prices. So you don't have to be afraid. You can, I mean, I've got VA offers accepted right now, both with buyers and sellers. I've got first right contingencies accepted. I've got FHAs accepted. I've got seller concessions. Like I've got everything across the board of what you would want for a normal market. And it's really encouraging. And it's just, I think it's taking some adjusting by not just agents, but also buyers and sellers and general consumers in society.
Just to go into the normal?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Carmel, 35 hit the market. And just going back to, like I said, I went back and looked for the past 6 weeks of my stats. Carmel, Westfield, and Zionsville are just steady eddies. So Carmel, 35 hit the market, 15 of those pended, but a total of 35 pended. So we have no increase in inventory in Carmel. Average days on market in the past 7 days were 21, and the median was 10. So days on market are creeping up in Carmel a little bit. And then past 30 days, 124 homes sold. and the list to sale ratio was about 98.5%. So the list to sale ratio is coming down a little bit. For the past 30 days, days on market were 27 and 7. So the median, like I said, is creeping up a little bit. There are currently 149 homes on the market in Carmel. So that's just been the same number for the past weeks and weeks. It's just averaging right there. 32 of those are new builds. In Westfield is just its own little area. 25 hit the market. 10 of those pended, but a total of 23 pended in the past 7 days, so almost all, also no inventory gain. Their average days on market in the past 7 days was 48, and the median's 11. So Westfield is staying high on days on market, and it's because there were 198 active homes, and there's 113 of those are new builds. So we are looking at new build stats. I know if I pull out the new build stats, those numbers will change, and maybe I should start doing that because some of those houses are the ones that were built for 6 months. But those are just 113 new builds of that 198. So if we look at backwards, there's less than 100 homes available for sale in Westfield because many of those new builds are not even out of the ground yet.
Dude, so side note, I just got one under contract in Chatham, and it is hard to compete with new builds right now if you're interested in, if you're like on the fence. We got a really nice house in Chatham it was Lennar Homes, beautiful home. And man, their rates are insane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like a 475, 495, and then they got a 2-1 buy down or something. It's like 275 for a year, 375 for a year, and then like 475 for the next 28. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
Well,
that's an insanely low rate.
When I talk to my sellers in Westfield, I think if you have a house that's a 2015 or newer, you're going to have a lot of days on market. You're going to be extremely competitive, and you better be doing some buy downs.
There's a lot out there.
My
right?
feeling is you are competing with new build all day long.
I agree with that.
And it's very hard for a buyer to come in when they see those rates available to them and the
I get the roof warranty, I get the mechanical warranty,
everything's
the foundation
brand new,
warranty.
no cats in the house before you. Nobody's been in that bathroom before you. Buyers will pay more for those houses to get that new. So that's where I'm seeing the average days on market of 48 in Westfield. In the past 30 days, it was 36. So it's ticking up. But it's difficult in Westfield to sell a resale house. My opinion, 2015 or newer, you're competing strongly with new builds. And there's 113 out there right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But 133 sold in Westfield in the past 30 days. Again, 98.5% roughly list to sale ratio. Zionsville, 13 houses hit the market, 6 pended total. Their average days on market's 5, median's 4. It's just because there's no inventory there. 71 active, 53 of them sold, and the average days on market was 36 and 5. So the average came way down last week.
It's good for me because I'm about to put one on in
and you said
Zionsville this
that,
week.
yeah, you said that one's going to go quick. It's where you're talking about the location. It's going to be a really good one out there. So the market is what it is. That's all we have to say about it.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Yeah. Like the news is correct, but it's more to it than just what the news is saying, I guess, right?
Always ask your agent. If you hear weird things out there, especially Facebook, oh my gosh, the stuff I'm seeing on Facebook is just out of control. If you have an agent that you can talk to, pick up the phone. They should know what's going on.
Yeah,
hopefully.
They will. Yeah, they will. And who knows? Once we get as we get closer to the election, and then whatever ends up happening with the election, it's just going to take a couple of months for all this we'll see where everything lands.
Well, then we're in November, December. That's holidays, and we're a whole different. It has a lot of stuff going on in November and December.
I think the spring.
Can you
market,
believe that? It's almost September.
Man, I was talking about this the other day. It's really weird. I'm in recovery, right? And so, we've talked about this before, but, when you're first getting sober and stuff, like 30, 60, 90 days, it's forever, man. So it's some of the hardest days to get. But in this job now, and I've been sober for a long time, man, like 6 months disappears in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. 3 months just disappears in a heartbeat just because of this business.
It's going to be
my
50
life.
degrees tonight.
I know. I didn't know what to wear today.
Fall is coming.
No. Have you looked at the weather for next week?
80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Up and down. But I'm not ready for fall. But yeah, this summer went by like so fast.
I
moved into a neighborhood with a pool. I've been there twice.
Don't say that. I'm about to build a pool.
Oh, yeah, we've talked about this. I'm sorry.
No.
I know. Well, maybe
Jessica, if you're listening, nobody will use the pool if we put it in. Anyways.
Well, you'll just have more friends than you've ever had, and you want to go to bed.
I don't even like people. No, I'm just kidding. My kids will use it. That's why you build a pool. You build a pool for your children.
And their friends.
And their friends. Yep. So I can see them and I can yell at them. No, I'm just kidding.
Know who their friends are. That's the best part.
Yeah.
We had a theater room. We need to go. We had a theater room, and all my kids were there on Friday and Saturday night in the theater room with their friends, and I just love that.
What'd you watch?
I had to watch Harry Potter, Star Wars, and Lord of the Rings. I was not allowed to watch.
Is that bad?
I was never allowed to watch anything I wanted to watch. So don't ask me what I wanted to watch because I couldn't watch anything I wanted to watch.
Because she had older brothers.
Sounds like therapy's needed within that, the way you said that.
So I will not watch Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, or Star Wars now because I'm sick of it.
Out of spite from 20 years ago?
No, I'm sick of it at this point.
Oh, my gosh.
Because that was all I had to watch.
She couldn't watch Hannah Montana.
I could watch Hannah Montana. We had TVs in our own room.
Oh, my gosh. Well, when I grew up, this is just so off the radar. There was a thing called TGIF, right? And it was like, thank goodness it's Friday. And it was like on NBC. And it was like Family Matters and Full House and all this other stuff. And like, it was like a whole thing, dude. Like, we go to somebody's house, have a sleepover, so we could watch TGIF and eat pizza. And you're talking about a theater room watching Star Wars, man. What are we? We are not built the same currently, man. Anyways, I'm just dating myself, and I'm old. Anyways,
All right.
Yeah. I apologize. We went off on some tangents, but whatever. I think it's fun for people to kind of see who we are. We will be back next week. And we got some people that we want to start having on as well.
We want to talk to, if you're out there, the Westfield Superintendent of Schools.
Yep.
I really want to talk to them. So we're going to be reaching out to you, and we want to talk to the Hamilton County Historical Preservation Alliance and the society for that.
Yeah.
Because after talking to Kelly Huff about that, really want to dig into them a little bit more about what that really means to homeowners. And then we're going to be talking.
Sounds a little bit more loosey goosey than what I've always been led to believe.
That's why I want to talk to them. So I saw them at the farmers market, and they're going to be on. We're going to talk to our commercial group here in Tucker.
Yep, Fred and Jordan. Yep.
Anybody else who wants to be on and have some ideas, please give us a call.
Yep. So I'm Kyle Morris with Morris Property Group and FC Tucker. My number is 317-649-5122.
I'm Shelly Walters with the Shelly Walters Realty Group and FC Tucker 317-201-2601. We'll see you next week. Bye.